It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I wanted to discuss something that I've been seeing all over Twitter. It's not confirmed yet, but it's believed to be that the amazing boy, Kenshiro Teraji's next fight, the #1 light flyweight in the world, the unified WBC and WBA light flyweight champion. It is believed to be that Kenshiro Teraji's next fight could be against none other than his WBA mandatory, Carlos Canizalez. Now, Carlos Canizalez, good fighter, former WBA champion. He had that great fight in 2021 with Esteban Bermudez where, he got stopped in the 6th round, but there was a lot of action. Good fighter, tough Venezuelan. He comes to fight. He is Kenshiro's WBA mandatory challenger. So unless Kenshiro can get some sort of an exemption to maybe fight like, Adrien Curiel or something like that, that'll probably be his next fight. And, that's an interesting fight because Canizalez, when he fought Bermudez, even though Bermudez stopped him in 6 rounds, I think stylistically it's a different type of fight for Canizalez because, if you look at the punches that Bermudez stopped Canizalez with, it was like punches around the guard, a lot of looping right hands around the guard. And Kenshiro doesn't really throw those kind of punches. Kenshiro is more of a, he's got that Japanese fundamental base, where the punches are straight as a steak knife, very right hand dominant, straight punches down the middle. Very effective, but very different challenge for Canizalez. So it could wind up being a easier fight for Canizalez. It could wind up being a harder fight for Canizalez, but nonetheless, that's the fight that is looked to be next for Kenshiro Teraji. Now, I wanted to see Kenshiro fight Spinafi Nuchinga, but unfortunately, Adrien Curiel had other plans, and as good as a Canizalez fight would be, I would really like to see Adrien Curiel get the fight. I mean, I think he earned it. It's a guy in Curiel who doesn't have a big knockout ratio, but as he stated, he's been fighting at weight classes higher than he's supposed to be fighting at. That's the case for a lot of fighters in boxing. I know fighters that can punch at their natural weight class, but their KO ratio is low because they're campaigning in weight classes that are not their natural weight class. Like, I'll give you an example right here in South Florida. He just fought last Saturday. Lawrence BT Newton, in my opinion, one of the best bantamweights in the world. But he didn't have the money behind him to get the fights at 118 early in his career. So he had to fight guys at 126, 128, 130. And he went the distance a lot of the time. So even though he can punch at his natural weight, his overall KO ratio isn't high because he hasn't fought a lot of guys at his weight class that properly developed, right? So it's the same thing with Curiel. Curiel knocked the daylights out of Nuchinga. It's my 2023 upset of the year because nobody on earth was giving Adrien Curiel a chance to beat Nuchinga, and he did it. He went in there and he beat the brakes off of him to become the IBF champion. And if I was calling the Kenshiro versus Nuchinga the Super Bowl of the light flyweight division, well then F it. Kenshiro versus Adrien Curiel is the Super Bowl of the light flyweight division because we know one thing, and I said it in a recent video, and I'll say it again here. For me personally, in boxing, I know people like to gas up Puerto Rico versus Mexico. They like to gas up USA versus Mexico. They like to gas up the UK versus the USA, the UK versus Mexico, the Philippines versus Mexico. Those are all great rivalries of boxing. But for me, nothing in boxing is better than Mexico versus Japan. To me, especially in the lower weight classes, Mexico versus Japan in like the weights from featherweight on down is the best rivalries in boxing, the best fights in boxing. It's always, you got the straight punches of the Japanese fighters against the come forward pressure style of Mexican fighters. To me, there's nothing better in boxing than those kind of matchups. And Kenshiro versus Adrien Curiel, to me, epitomizes that matchup. Kenshiro, quite possibly, along with Naoya Inoue, might be the most fundamentally sound Japanese fighter in the game today. He kind of fights like a shorter Dmitry Bivol. Damn good fighter. And Curiel, even though I'm not as familiar with him, because he just burst onto the scene. He came from nowhere. He came with a ski mask on, and he robbed Nuchinga of that title. But a guy that, like many Mexican fighters, comes forward and has a really dangerous overhand right. And that's the kind of overhand right. I like Kenshiro, but Curiel's big for 108. we saw Kenshiro fight another fighter earlier in his career that was big for 108 in Masamichi Ibuki, and he put Kenshiro out. He stopped him. So could this be a repeat of that? Quite possibly, and I think it'd be a good fight. I know Kenshiro wants to keep his titles. I know his goal is still to be a champion at 108, but I've also heard some chatter from Kenshiro Teraji, and I've heard some rumors and I've seen some reports about Kenshiro maybe moving up to light flyweight, not light flyweight, but flyweight from 108 to 112, because the reality is he's been at 108 for a long time, his whole career pretty much, and there are some big fights out there for him. Like I know Sonny Edwards expressed in an interview that he would love to come to Japan to fight Kenshiro. You know, it's one of his dreams to fight in Japan, right? So I think that would be an attractive option. I think there's some good fights for him at the higher weight classes. So there is always that alternative. But I do think he respects the belts. I do think he's a real champion, and I do think there is that ambition to still become the undisputed champion. And obviously he's got to kind of wait for Jonathan Gonzalez now, because Jonathan Gonzalez has to go fight one of the dudes who won the interim title over there. He's got a mandatory coming up. So it's not just like a straightforward path. But if he can have 2 more fights at light flyweight, or 3 more fights at light flyweight, like 2 this year, maybe 1 in 2025 coming up, I would love to see Kenshiro try to become undisputed. But Canizalez is a good fighter. I think Canizalez will present some challenges. He's 30 years old. He's experienced. He's been champion before. He's just never been able to really beat anybody of a Kenshiro caliber. So we'll see how it goes for him. But ultimately, like I want to campaign for Adrien Curiel to get a shot that he's earned, because Adrien Curiel had the upset of the year. I didn't think he was going to win. Nobody even considered him winning. When I would mention him, the Nochinga fight that week, we all overlooked Adrien Curiel, which is dumb. You should never overlook any Mexican fighter, because Mexican fighters always come to fight. So yeah, that'd be a great fight. That to me, when it comes to fighters representing their countries and their philosophies on boxing, because every country has their own style. Like I said earlier, Japanese fighters, very fundamental base, straight punches. Not all Mexican fighters, but many Mexican fighters. High guard, come forward, high volume punches, overhand rights. That's the way a lot of them fight. I can't think of a matchup in this weight class of 2 fighters that epitomize the styles and boxing philosophies of their respective countries more than Kenshiro and Adrien Curiel. And that's kind of why I want to see the fight. Mexico versus Japan, Japan versus Mexico. It's the best rivalry in boxing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Kenshiro potentially defending his belt against WBA mandatory Carlos Canizalez. And what do you guys think about potential Kenshiro versus Adrien Curiel matchup? Because now that's a unification fight. That's 3 belts going to be on the line now. So that ain't no small fight. That's a big fight. So leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.